Perfect. So this meeting is being recorded now, so anybody that joins, I will let them know. Today we're going to be going over all the latest scams and fraud, and something that I always like to start with on scams and fraud is our phone scams, because they're probably something that I get asked about the most, no matter what age group. It's the phones, because no matter who you are, your phone is always ringing with an unknown number. I don't have a magic solution for phone scams, unfortunately. It is just something that happens. I wish I had an app or a number we could call to get rid of them, but the best thing you can do is just to not answer them. You'll slowly start to get less. It won't be overnight, but you will start to get less. It is not the perfect solution, but it's what's being done. The FTC is working really hard to try to stop phone scams. They're working with a lot of the wireless companies here in the United States to slow those, and you'll notice that their program is working when you get calls that say potential spam caller, or the call won't come through. It'll just ring once and then hang up. That is their program working, which is awesome. But unfortunately, a lot of the calls are coming from other countries overseas and bouncing through a lot of different places. So it's hard for them to track and work with. They are trying, but it's a lot slower process, and they do catch people. It's just, it's not fun nightly news that you see. They have a little Twitter page that they post on, but you won't unfortunately see them on the 5 o'clock news when they make it. Thank you everyone for joining. This meeting is being recorded, so if you would not like to be on the recording, just make sure that your camera is turned off. We are just covering phone scams as I get started. And I am just reminding people that the best way to get less phone scams is not to answer, as frustrating as that is. And I will let Michael introduce himself.
Yes, I'm just going to take a second to introduce myself. First off, thanks to the Better Business Bureau for hosting us this morning. Thank you, Danielle, for that link to it. I just sent it out to the attendees, so we should be getting a few more in the next few minutes as well. I also want to thank our sponsor for today, TD Bank, as well. I know Parker's on the line, so I just want to give them a shout out as well for hosting our Next Generation Leaders series. And the Merrimack Valley Chamber has a whole host of upcoming events. You can view it all on merrimackvalleychamber.com. And I'll let Danielle get underway, but I just want to say thank you again for joining us. We view, this is a very important subject for people to learn about. So thank you again, and I'll turn it on the way to Danielle.
Thank you. Absolutely. Yeah, it is a great series. And the more, I say this all the time, the more we can talk about scams and educate about scams, the better. It is something that people don't like to talk about and don't like to admit that they have been scammed. But the more that the information is out there and the more that it is reported, the better, because you're just doing each other, your friends, your family, a service by talking about it, because scammers are smart. They come up with new things all the time. So letting your neighbors know, your loved ones, when you go out to dinner, know, hey, I heard about this latest scam, just helps them be aware to what's out there. So talking about it and educating yourself on whatever is popping up is the best thing you can do, because scams are never going to go away. They're only just going to pop up with new ones. So finishing off with phone scams, scammers have the ability to mirror different numbers and call from familiar numbers. So they have the ability to call from the local Haverhill Police Department number, or the local Methuen fire number, or Social Security, Office of Consumer Affairs, Better Business Bureau. They call from numbers that look very familiar, so you automatically want to pick up. But unless you are expecting a call from one of those entities, or there is a reason they should be calling you, I would not pick up. I would let it go to voicemail. I guess if the police department is calling you, you can answer. But if they are asking for money, or asking for you to buy gift cards for a fundraiser, or something where they are asking for you to bring money in, I would hang up and call the non-emergent line back that you can find on your town's website, rather than the number they leave you back, just to verify that that is real. If they're asking for a donation for something or anything like that, just verify that it is legit. The amount of scams that go out with that is through the roof. And when I say this, people kind of roll their eyes at me. They think that's not going to happen to me. That's not me. Scams happen to younger generations more in 2021 than they happened to the older generations. We lost less money than they did, but they happened to us more because we didn't believe we could be scammed. We're too smart for it. So we're clicking more links, we're opening more emails, we're doing more things because we've grown up in a tech world. We're tech savvy, but scammers are smart to that. So they know how to get us with, next up, text message scams. So something that popped up with COVID was the Amazon, "Hi, this is Amazon. We've had a problem with your delivery. Click this link here," in a text message. And people would click it. It'd bring you to a page that looked very similar to an Amazon login. You'd log in. It grabs your username and your password. It stores it. All of a sudden, you have $500 worth of camping equipment being sent to a random location in Texas that you did not order. Or this is UPS. We have a package out for your delivery. Is this, verify your address, click this link here. So all those types of scams are popping up, and it's just something to be aware of because it's not something that we have seen a lot. Has anybody on this call experienced those types of text messages on their phone? Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if you get a link, I just had a question. If you get a link and if you click it, can they access your information just by clicking it, or do you have to do stuff after you click it?
Depends on the link. I would not click it.
Okay.
It can download like malware and things like that. If it's a link and it's asking you, like if you have, say, a delivery coming and you've signed up for text messages from, say, FedEx to alert you to your deliveries, and you're expecting a text from FedEx, but you're still not sure if that's a fake text, I would still delete it and just go straight to your tracking number from FedEx in your email and search it that way.
Thank you.
Go straight to your account. I tell people it's always worth taking that couple extra minutes to verify something. If you're not sure, if it looks pretty legit and you're not sure, you're kind of on the edge, take that couple extra minutes to verify something. It's going to save you time in the long run, because if it isn't something legitimate and it is a scam and you get scammed, it takes hours, days, years out of your life to get something, money, time, your identity back once you've been scammed on the end of things. So it's worth taking a couple extra minutes to verify something rather than just being like, oh, it's probably okay. It seems legit. A lot of information about us is out there that scammers can use against us to make us feel comfortable about something, whether it be a phone scam, a text message scam, an email scam, when they call you, when they reach out to you. A lot of our information, as we know, is on the internet, whether or not we're on social media, whether we're private on social media. Anytime a loved one passes away, information about our family is put in an obituary, so they know who our cousins are, grandparents are, where we grew up, how many living relatives we have, all this kind of stuff that are security questions. Anytime you move and anybody from your graduating class donates a yearbook to a library, libraries scan that in. That's great. That way you can always have it, access it from anywhere. Those are all security questions. When did you graduate high school? What was your mascot? What were your colors? What did you get voted most likely? Where was your prom? All those things are security questions for your bank, for your any type of finance account, anything like that. And that information is out there. So when they call you and they're talking to you and they say, okay, yep, and you still live on Main Street, okay, and your first cat, it was Mittens, and da 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 da, and these are just things they can pull. So you have to make sure that they're not just making you feel comfortable with information that they are pulling from social media accounts, from the internet, from things like that. And if you are not sure, hang up, call back the number on the back of your credit card, anything like that. Email scams are a little bit easier to verify who you are talking to, because for those you have a return sender. Email scams, you can click the return sender, whether it be on your phone or on your laptop, desktop. You can extend it, because usually you only see that beginning portion, and that's kind of what gets people. They use that beginning portion to look very familiar. So if it is, customer service at Amazon or customer service at Bank of America, you only see that beginning portion when you look at your email. When you click into it, you don't see the whole rest of it. When you open the whole rest of it, it might look like just customer service at bankofamerica.com. But if it's a scam email, it might look like customer service at bank.america.uk.123.abc.129678. And that would be a dead giveaway that would be a scam email. You'll look in the email. What is it asking you? Is it saying your account's been compromised? Are the colors correct? I always use Bank of America as an example because their colors are red, white, and blue. So all of a sudden their email red, white, and fuchsia. Is their font normal, or are they all of a sudden using cursive font? Is everything spelled correctly? Do they have good grammar? Those large companies pay a lot of people a lot of money to make sure that they're using correct grammar and spelling things correctly. So look out for things like that when you get emails. Emails, same thing as text messages. Any type of links in an email, if you are not 110% positive that you are clicking a legitimate link, delete it. Delete it, reach directly out to the company, say, hi, I received this email. It was asking me to click this link. Was it legitimate? If so, can you resend it? Or, thank you so much. No, thank you. It is worth it to take that extra time to verify something, because again, in the long run, it'll take you so much longer to go back and verify it that way. Any questions on phone, texts, or email scams?
I think what I've noticed is that if it's too good to be true, it usually is all the time with those. And you want to believe it's going to be real, but you just got to set yourself up for a lot of headaches, I think, when you do click on those links or enter that information. So
absolutely. Yeah. Too good to be true is a great way to remember it. Unfortunately, that is typically the case with most of things. And that kind of segues into what I talk about next, is something similar with ads. We see a lot of our ads inundated on our social medias, in our life. If you see an ad on your Instagram, your Facebook, a lot of them end up being catered right towards us. And we see ones for bracelets, for car parts, for jewelry, for toys, for all different things, electronics, right there on our feeds all day long. And we just want to click them and buy from the stores we've never heard of before, stores we've heard of before. But you want to do some research first. Anybody can buy an ad on Google, on Facebook, on Instagram, and pay top dollar to make sure it shows up on your feed. It looks legitimate. It takes you to a website that looks legitimate. But that website could pop up for a week and then disappear. It takes your money and it ships you nothing. It now has your debit card information, your credit card information, and and your address. And they don't have to send you, they're not going to send you anything, or they're just going to send you a little picture of what they told you they were going to send. So be careful when you're doing your online shopping. I know a lot of us have done a lot more. I know I have. Pay with a credit card. That's a great first way to do it. Credit cards are a lot easier to get your money back on because it's pulling from credit, not directly from your debit account. Research the companies before you're buying from them. You can research them from the Better Business Bureau. We have over 6 million business profiles on our website, and you can see if they're listed with us. Type right into Google the company name with the word review after it. See if they even pop up. If they don't pop up, that's not a good sign. That means there's not even any information on them. That probably means they're a fake company. They're just popping up, popping out. just do your due diligence before clicking on any of those types of ads. They sound great, but like Mike said, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. So be careful with those. Going right off of that, a piece of advice I always give, and it's an eye roll advice, is to read your bank statements. Scammers are very, very smart to the fact that it's getting very hard to scam one person out of $10,000, but it is incredibly easy to scam 10,000 people out of $1. You don't notice it. You assume it's just a recurring charge from, Spotify once a month, or, Apple Pay or something like that. That's just a monthly fee. And you're not going to notice it unless you're checking your bank statement. You're saying, hey, that's weird. I shouldn't be getting charged $2 at Walgreens once a month or something like that. And they're getting away with it. I've talked to people in the community. They're like, yep, I noticed it. All of a sudden I had a $7 charge at Walgreens and my wife had a $6 charge from this random online store. And if we hadn't read our bank statements, we wouldn't have even noticed it. It was over the holidays. We had a lot of extra charges then. But we were reading our bank statements and we noted it. It's a boring read, but scammers are getting smart to the fact that if they can just charge very low amounts each month on your card, they'll slowly start to up it to see how long it can go without you noticing. And if you are not reading those line by line, again, boring read, but absolutely worth it. Take a couple minutes out of your month each month. Incredibly helpful, and then your account won't be compromised and you'll notice it right away. Your bank will be upset with you if you notice 6 months down the line and then they got to go back and fix it 6 months down the road. So if you can catch it early, it's incredibly helpful. Does anybody have any questions? Anything they want me to cover that I haven't covered yet that they came looking for me to cover?
Danielle, I'm just jumping in to say from the banking perspective, Park Williams TD Bank. So you're absolutely right on the reviewing your statement thing. It's so true. We see it all the time, with really small sums coming out, things like that. I would also just say, reiterate, what you were saying on emails and things like that, especially to, the business owners on the phone or anyone who's dealing with payments to clients. If you're paying anyone through ACH and you receive an email from a vendor who you pay regularly and they say, hey, we've changed our banking detail, please update your ACH information to this new banking detail, pick up the phone every time. Pick up the phone and call them and verify that that is true, because so often it's unbelievable how easily emails can be masked, and frequently it will be a fraudster who's giving you fake bank information, and you won't know until 30, 60, 90 days when your vendor calls you to say, hey, we never received payment on this invoice, and you go, yes, I did. Here's here's proof of payment, and they say that's not our bank information, and now you're out the money. And that's a really tough one because, from the bank standpoint, we can't always make people whole on that because you initiated the transaction. You made the payment willingly. And so that's hard. Same thing if you're paying by wire. Anytime you get sent wire information, pick up the phone. 100% of the time, you must verify wire information. That happens all the time as well. And, we've had really shocking incidences of, to your point, the amount of detail people can provide. We had an example of a client whose CFO was on vacation in Mexico. The fraudster must have hacked into his email, seen that this guy was on vacation in Mexico, sent an email to someone in administration saying, hey, I'm enjoying my vacation down in Mexico. Please send this wire for me immediately. And it just so happened the CFO called to check in as they were about to hit go on this wire, and said, well, that wasn't me. So they were about to wire all this money out, to a fraudster. So always pick up the phone and verify anytime you're changing your bank information, to any sort of payees, anything like that. Because it like when I say it happens all the time, like I'm dealing with this probably once a week with someone. It happens all the time. If you're paying by check, your bank information is out there. Because on the check, it has your account number, it has your routing number, company name, address. That's all you need to, create a fraudulent check or to set up a fraudulent ACH. So just wanted to, hit on all those things, that you've already covered off, but just really wanted to hit them home.
No, absolutely. I verify is all I can say in that, because the amount of times I've heard horror stories, especially with people buying houses and issues with wire transfers. They get an email last minute saying, oop, it was actually changed. Can you wire it here? And then money just never shows up, and it becomes this huge issue. People, and then they're out all this money. They got to go try to chase it down. And as we know, once money is out there in the world, it is incredibly hard to chase back down, and incredibly hard to get back. So thank you for touching back on that, because it is
Absolutely.
It is really very true, very, very true. And I was asked to touch on online scams, in particular, girlfriend lotteries, etc. Wire money, send gift cards. Gift cards are a huge thing that people are asked to send, specifically because gift cards are one of those things that once you send out there, there's no getting those back. Lise, did you want to ask any specific online online other than that? If you want to unmute, you're more than welcome to. Other than that, I can go into the generals of online scams. For online scams, for the lottery ones, one of the important things to know about a lottery scam is you can never win another country's lottery. That is very, very important to know. So if you get a call saying you've won Ireland's lottery, you can't unless you have I'm losing my word for it, but a citizenship there. You cannot win other countries' lotteries. If the girlfriend scams, romance scams are huge this time of year. A lot of them online, a lot of them on Facebook, on social medias. The thing with those is it's more of the verifying. Asking to send money is a big red flag. I'm trying to start a business. I really want to see you, but I can't without money. All those kind of things are big, major red flags. For the online scams, they get tough because they are never ending, really. They come up with new ones all the time, and they kind of stick around the same routine, in the fact that they are preying on all different types of people. They're hitting for money, and that they are always going to be around. For online scams, the best thing you can do is just be on the lookout and make sure that you are always double checking everything. If something looks too good to be true, like we were saying earlier, verify it. If it's a romance scam, someone's friending you and they start asking for money, or they start talking about, well, if I send you $200, send me $100 back. And different things like that. Start to put your red flags up and do a little bit more research into it. Start reaching out to people around them and to around you to double check those things. For lottery scams, always reach out directly to the entity if you get contacted by a lottery saying you've won publisher house clearing, all these different things. Just hang up before giving information. If they ask you to pay, you've won it, but you have to pay $1,000 in taxes before you win this. That's not how it works. Hang up, call the direct number that you can find. You can either reach out to the Better Business Bureau to find their number or find it right online. Call them directly, say, hi, I was contacted by you. Did I win? And they'll either say yes or no. If they say yes, you can say great. If they say no, you can say, okay, great. I, was contacted by them. And you can always let the FTC know you were contacted. If you receive repetitive calls from the same number, you can report that number to the FTC, and they will note that as a scam number. Shauna, did you have a question?
No, I just wanted to reiterate something that you'd said regarding the reviewing the bank statements. So, one of the things that a lot of people think is that they can go back indefinitely. Once they determine this, it's a lot easier to go back 1 month. You can even go back 2 months, but as you start getting farther back, sometimes those are very hard to recover. So, that piece that you were mentioning. And it's very frequent. They're sending you a money order. They're going to send you some sort of cash. And I think you just touched on this briefly, where they want you. They overpaid, and they need you to give some back. That is never a thing because they can always get that reissued.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah, we see that a lot where they overpay you and then they want you to pay it back. But their check never clears or something like that, and then you are out their money. Something that was mentioned earlier by Parker was checks. I am a woman against checks personally. That is a personal opinion for you. I am highly against them just because they have your whole banking information on them, and you are sending them out into the world hoping that the person that receives them is a good person and is not going to copy down your address, your routing number, your banking information, and all that. Obviously, if you would like to use checks, you can. Just make sure you are not leaving them in your mailbox, for someone to come and grab. You are not just leaving them out. If you have a house cleaner coming in, painters coming in, you never know who's going to be a bad apple or anything like that. You just want to be careful with your checks. They have so much information on them, and you just want to make sure that they are getting into the right hands if you are choosing to use them. If you can avoid using them, I would. They just hold so much information on them. It's easier to use a credit card, do a direct payment, something, a different method, so that you can avoid something like that. Shauna, you had a hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that the one thing that we're seeing a little bit more frequently too here is that because of the introduction of mobile banking and the mobile check capture, people are depositing their checks, and you don't know how they're disposing of your check once they've made the deposit. So we're seeing that your information, even though you sent it to a legit person, they received it, then they just, they were careless with the check after the fact, and your information is now compromised.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't know that they're shredding it. Are they just tossing it out? Are they just putting it in a pile and recycling it? You don't know that they're properly disposing of it. So you just want to be careful with that. There's way too much information on a check. So like I said, I'm a woman against checks, but that is your personal initiative. I just like to remind people how much information is on a check. Something that we recently saw pop up, and we've seen it in our area, is parking ticket scams. So that is something to be aware of, and parking lots and city parking. People have been going around and putting fake parking tickets, whether you are parked in a lot or just on street parking, and you pay them, but it doesn't actually go to the lot or the city. it just goes to the scammer, but they look like official parking tickets. So if you receive a parking ticket and you do not think it kind of looks fishy, or you're like, I was totally in my limits of parking, this doesn't look legit, double check the ticket, make sure it's the official city seal or the parking lot seal. Look to where it's asking you to pay, make sure it's to something legit. And if you're not sure, call the city or call the town, say, hey, I got this parking ticket. Can you verify that I actually have a ticket? Or call the parking lot, whoever manages the lot you are in, and just verify that you actually received a ticket before paying it and giving your money to the scammer, and then pay with a credit card. That way, if it is a scam, it is a little bit easier to get that money back rather than a debit card. It is something that has very recently popped up and we're seeing come around. It is a brand new scam. So we don't have a ton of information on it, but I like to just remind people, as people are out and about more and street parking, to just be aware of those kind of things popping out. Scammers get incredibly creative. It is a billion-dollar industry, so they can come up with just about anything to make their money. I can touch on anything else that I haven't covered that somebody wanted me to. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I had a quick question.
Yeah.
I hear sometimes, I'm not sure if this would fall into this or something else, but I hear something about when, I'm not sure, people might hold your accounts hostage. They might steal your passwords, and they say you have to pay a certain amount to get the information back. Have you seen anything like that? And is there anything you can do to prevent that, or just one of those things you have to deal with?
The best thing you can do, update your account's passwords regularly. I haven't seen that super often, but it definitely does happen. If someone's asking you to pay money to get your accounts back, I would not pay that money. I would reach out to directly to whatever the account is. So if it's your email account and somebody is holding that account hostage, I would reach out directly to Gmail or whoever it is that they're holding the account hostage of, and say, hi, my account, they're not letting me into this account. Can you reset my account XYZ, rather than going through the scammer.
And for passwords, you just mentioned passwords. Do
Yeah.
you have multiple passwords for all your different accounts, or do you have this? I always hear to put different ones. I'm probably guilty of using the same one for most of my accounts. So I wasn't sure if that's an actual thing or what you would recommend.
Oh yeah, people hate me when I say this. I'm sorry, but you should have a different one for every single account, and you should update it every 3 months. It is really annoying to do. I was guilty of having the same password for every account and never updating it before starting this job, but it's absolutely worth it with everything. If one person hacks one account and it is the same password for your Netflix account, that is the same as your banking account. Scammers know we're lazy and that we do that, or we just throw a capital letter or an exclamation point in. They're going to try that, and then they're going to get into half your accounts. So it's absolutely worth updating it, because if there's a data breach, they're going to get across your accounts, or B, they get into one account, they're going to try to get into the rest of your accounts.
Thank you. Yeah, the cool thing now I like is that they have the dual factor one where they text you a code after. And
Yeah.
even though I hate using the code, I usually turn it on just to be. I feel like it's safer, because how can they get the code if you don't have your phone? So
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's annoying, and make your password something obscure. Again, they know a lot of information about us. Don't make it your first pet's name, where you live, your name, anything like that. Make it blue sweater, 1940, polka dots, 2019, whatever it may be, and make it different across the board. There have been more and more data breaches, as we know, and they don't always get our personal information. Sometimes they just get passwords. Sometimes they get different things. So that's how they get in, and they hack into emails. Whereas Parker was saying or possibly Shauna, they got into that CEO's email and found out he was on vacation, and they requested that wire transfer. That's how they get in for things like that. A data breach might not be information. It might just get into somebody's email. There have been more and more data breaches. I know last year a lot of data breaches happened in Western Mass hospitals that got a lot of people's information, and there was a lot of hospital scams. So that will definitely be coming our way, because anything that happens out there always comes this way. And we saw a lot of people getting hospital scams. So people would get calls from their doctor say, "Hi, this is, Dr. Joe. We know you're coming in next week. We're just calling to verify your social security number and to do your copay over the phone. If you want to update your social security and let me know your credit card, we'll do your copay right now." So just look out for those things. If you get a letter in the mail from Social Security saying you've had a data breach, look out for those. That is the only way Social Security should notice you the first time, is via a letter. Someone have their hand raised? Go ahead.
I do, actually. I just started working in the scam business. I don't know if that's what you call it. But does anybody maybe have any tips on how to assist the generational divide? So I work with elders, and part of my job is to get the information out and that type of thing. But some of the scams and I've only worked there for a month, some of the scams are what are under our mission, but there seems to be so many more, and it's just a matter of, like, a woman calls and says, it sounded legit over the phone. I gave out my credit card number, and how do you, because they're not necessarily, some people are, some elders are very savvy in technology, and some are not. So I'm just wondering if anybody might have any additional tips on how you handle making sure that the word gets out to somebody who may not be as technologically adapted. And so I'm just wondering if anybody might have any additional suggestions.
When someone asks me for help, and during any of my presentations, especially when I'm talking to like councils on aging or any type of like assisted living groups, I always recommend they have like a tech savvy person in their life, because I can't, like, they'll bring me printed out emails and they're like, "Is this a scam?" And I'm like, I will be here for hours if we do this. So I always recommend that they have like a tech savvy person in their life, or they find a trusted tech support in the area that they go to. And someone in the room, usually the tech savvy person, always asks, always is like, "I go to the Apple store down there. I go to Best Buy. I have a membership with the Geek Squad," whatever. And they kind of make that community connection on where they go to. Or they're like, "I go to my niece, I go to my child." If they don't have a family member, then they'll share that connection in their community. And I usually reference them there so that they can always call that person and go to it. Some libraries, or like I said, councils on aging in your communities will have like a monthly, bi-weekly like tech support sometimes that will help the senior citizens if they have questions on like, "Is this legit? My computer turned black," different things like that. If they have problems with like verifying legitimate things when they're on the phone, different things like that, trying to do things. Does that kind of cover it?
Sure. I'm also thinking of where we should send some people if we certainly call. I deal in Medicare fraud, so
Yeah.
you call the FTC, you call Medicare, you give them the laundry list of phone numbers to call. But it just seems like some people, like one woman said to me, she's like, "Yeah, I knew I shouldn't have done it, but I did it." and I'm just trying to, you obviously have your senior centers and you have your
Yeah.
bank, but people are in their house and some are more isolated than others. So I'm just trying to find additional ways to assist them to keep them educated, so that it's kind of always in their face. Remember, verify, check your bank statement. I wish I could put a magnet together so it could just be on the refrigerator every day, but just trying to look for different things to help them.
We can do this with them. I can come out.
That'd be great. I'll let you know. I'll be in touch. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Office of Consumer Affairs does this as well for free. Her and she does it, and I do it as well. I can send you her information. She's great. Anything I'm missing? I'm trying to think of my other latest scams that are hitting the area, but I covered parking tickets, and that's our biggest one hitting. That's our latest news release right now, that I haven't.
Oh, Danielle, quick question. Will you be able to give me the link for this video so I can send it to the attendees with your contact information as well?
Absolutely. Yep. It's being recorded, so it'll go up on our Vimeo and on our YouTube. So anybody that missed it can rewatch it, and that you'll be able to share it as well.
Perfect. And I just want to mention to all the attendees, this event is put on by our Next Generation Leaders group. Just want to thank TD Bank again for their sponsorship and support of that series. And our next event is going to be on February 8th. So anyone who's in this chat right now is invited as a guest. All you have to do is just email me. It's going to be a speed networking program at Comfort Home Care. It's tons of hors d'oeuvres, great speed networking program. Again, at Comfort Home Care. I just put the link in the chat, February 8th. And all you have to do is just email me to attend that event for free as my guest. So thank you all for being part of this webinar today. And thank you to the Better Business Bureau as well for hosting us. We appreciate that. And this is great information. I know it's something we don't want to think we have to worry about. I know we all think it's never going to happen to us, but the reality is it's happening to people every day. So I just want to thank Danielle and the Better Business Bureau again for her support today.
Absolutely. Thank everyone for joining. Like I was saying at the beginning, it's something people don't like to talk about and get embarrassed when it happens to us, but it happens to more people than you know because nobody talks about it. And it's something that's so important to talk about, because the more we talk about it and report it and educate each other and loved ones, so whether you talk about it at the dinner table, out with friends, anything like that, you can have me come into your community and I will talk about it. You can have the Office of Consumer Affairs come into your community and talk about it. You can just talk about it yourselves, anything like that. You can keep up with our scam tracker on bbb.org and see what's happening latest in your area. Anything like that. It just helps stay educated. Scams are never going to go away, unfortunately. They're just going to keep coming up with new things. So the best we can do is just stay educated on what to look out for. Right now, we're looking out for parking tickets. So thank you guys for joining today. And if you have any questions or anything like that, you can find me at the Better Business Bureau, and I'm always happy to answer them. So I hope you learned something and enjoy the rest of your day.
And I just want to mention real quick, the Better Business Bureau is a great resource for you and your business. And they cover a lot more than just scams as well. So contact Danielle, see if she might be able to help you in your business. And just want to say thank you all for being here today. And thank you, Danielle, as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys. Have a great rest of your day.